Okay, so in this video, I'll be going over a Koso tachometer. I'm going to be installing this on my Honda Navi. My original tachometer was just the standard coin cell battery powered like run lead style of tachometer, and it worked great for a while, but the coin cell batteries in it would die pretty fast, and you get a new one, you put it in, and maybe within the first like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it would start saying low battery. It would last a long time, but it would always say that. And on top of that, it's just annoying having to replace this battery every once in a while. And it was the style that you wrap around the spark plug. While this one, this looks like a nicer display. It's surprisingly even smaller than the standard tachometer most people install. And it also goes directly to battery. So you don't have to worry about the actual coin cell battery dying or anything like that, because this is completely hardwired, which is a good thing. And it only seems like it's positive, negative, and a signal wire to this. So it should be pretty simple to wire up. You can order this with a red, blue, green, and possibly white display. I forget about if there is a white one or not. And you can also order it either just the gauge itself or with a little bracket that you can put it on that has one bolt hole that you can mount anywhere on your bars if you have a spot. So yeah, and I believe it's only $20 Canadian. I'll open this up, we'll get to installing it. So what you get in the packaging is the actual display itself. And see what I mean by how small it is? This is already decently small, and the standard tachometer I've seen other people install are even like longer height-wise. And this one's even smaller. It's also much thinner as well. If you can see, yeah, super thin. This is also waterproof, which is good. They literally show it in like a cup of water, still working fine. So yeah, you get the actual display itself, it's wiring, and then you also get some little splice connectors. I personally hate these. I've always had issues with these, even in the best case scenarios. They eventually just cause issues. So I'll probably hard wire this as in like solder and go directly to the wire. And I'll probably skip these. And I'm not too sure what the purple wire is for. They also give you stickers for the branding of this tachometer, as well as an instruction book. Okay, so my plan for mounting this tachometer is probably going to be around here on my gas tank cover. On my friend's brown bike, the other style tachometer that I just showed that used to be on this bike, we mounted here and put a little hole through here. I just don't know if you can do that without depinning this connector. So I'll probably put it here, put it up here or here, and run the wire through here, through a little crack here. I might have to clear some of the plastic on the inside of this, not on the outside, but I'll see if that works. And after that, it's just like 3M tape or some Velcro to keep this on. I'll probably try and keep it up here though, just for visibility while actually riding. It's still pretty close, but it's a lot easier to look at it up here than it is down here while riding. So yeah, I'll see what looks the nicest and what sensibly is doable for mounting it, especially with the wiring. But after this, the wire should just be able to go straight through underneath this plastic, straight to the battery, and then you should be good. Okay, so I was looking at this a little bit more, and you can actually fit the whole connector and wire through this little gap here. You just have to take the actual door and push it to the left like this, and that'll increase the gap over here. You can kind of feed that connector and the wiring through here. And then when you do that, you can feed it through this little gap here. The door's little gap from this plastic to the door is like right about there. You can kind of see the light. So you can feed it through there and then get some tweezers and pull it through here. The only thing is that makes the door a lot more stiff to actually get in the fully open position. So you can get it into this position, but then getting it to this takes a lot more effort. You can do it. I think the route that I'm going to go is I'm going to take a little drill bit, make a little hole here, depin that little connector that's on there, so it's just wires, then feed them all through here. And then it's a clean install and you don't see the wires. And then after that, I can take that wire and just feed it out through under here, and it should be able to go just straight to the battery and be okay. Okay, so this is with the actual hole drilled out. As you can see, I fed it through here. It's not mounted with 3M tape or anything. and it goes through there. And then I put one more hole, it's kind of hard to see, but kind of right through the bottom down there, so it can come out there. I just left enough slack that moving the door won't affect that too much. It could be a little tighter. You can just take these wires, feed them under the seat down into this area, and put this plastic back on at least. You don't necessarily have to screw it down right away, but place this down, and then we can start working on this side of the wiring. Okay, so I got the gas tank cover actually installed. I put 3M tape on this. So I took the wire, and like you saw last time, there's a hole drilled right around here in the top piece here. And then another hole drilled around here underneath the door. And the wire just runs out through here. I just put it behind all the paneling, obviously. So then from here, obviously you'll have to do the power and ground. For power, you can put it to the switch 10 amp fuse that would be in here. I have an AC to DC conversion, so I have this wire running over here. But this whole wire for me will be hot when the key is on. So you can add a fuse circuit like this, and take the positive for this this gauge and run it straight here, and then it'll be key on, and it'll turn on when the key actually turns on, like I said. And that's the easy way of doing it without splicing anything. You could also technically go through the bottom of this connector or fuse holder and do it that way, but preferably do it this way just so it's, you know, you can just remove it and you're not touching OEM harnessing in case you want to go back to stock. So yeah, I'll put my positive to this wire. Ground will go straight to battery. And then after that, we'll work on the signal wire for the actual coil pickup, which will have to be all the way down at the actual spark plug boot. Okay, so I have the positive of the sensor, or not sensor, the gauge wired up to that switchable 10 amp fuse. And so it goes straight to here. It's a little messy in here because I also have the wideband sensor also installed on top of LEDs and a bunch of other stuff. So there's a bunch of things running in here, but the actual wiring you can see here, the ground goes straight here. The power goes straight to the 10 amp fuse wire that I have for the AC to DC conversion here. So like I said, when you go to install this, you can buy a add a fuse like this and literally run it straight from here, straight to this wire like this, like if it was like that. You can ignore all this other stuff. But yeah, you get the idea. This is switched power, and you wire this straight to there. And when you turn on the key, it'll actually turn on the gauge. So you can see this is wired up to the same spot as this, and you can see it turns on right away. So now that we have that done, all that's left is the signal wire to the actual coil and the button that's used for changing settings on here. The button is what connects to the plug, so that's not too hard. The wire that goes to the spark plug for the actual RPM signal, that one should be the purple wire that you have included in the kit here. So this you'll have to connect to this white one. In the actual guide or the paper manual, it says this wire should be brown, I believe, but it's white, and clearly we only have this left other than this for the button. So it has to be the white wire. So I'll take this purple wire, connect it here, and then I'll route it all the way down to my spark plug, which is down here. And then after that, you take it and you wrap it around the actual spark plug wire or boot, and then it should give you your RPM signal. Okay, here's a quick little example of what your winding should look like. So I fed that wire for the pickup of the actual spark signal or the RPM signal down to where the spark plug is. And it says do 3 to 10 windings. I did 10. So I used a little bit of electrical tape to hold it down at the start, but I have some nice tight windings around the spark plug wire. And after this, I'll use some more electrical tape and wrap it around this just to keep it there. But it should look something like this. So yeah, just a quick little example. It's a little dark in there, but you can kind of see I covered it all with electrical tape and I kept the windings nice and tight and right beside each other, and then I ran it straight up here and zip tied it a little bit nicer to OEM harnesses and stuff. And then I took the button that's included with the kit and I plugged that in. It just connects to that one connector down there. I added some heat shrink up here just so there's not exposed wires, just so it looks a little cleaner. It looks a little nicer with, if it focuses, it looks a little nicer with it just being all black like this rather than showing a white and a black wire like that. And my thought on mounting this is probably just going to be somewhere like right here. Just a small little wire. So all you'll see is roughly like from my thumb upwards of this. If I thought this through, I probably could have mounted it right in here and fed the wire down to where the wiring for the actual display went. But that's okay. Really, you can put this wherever, just wherever you want the button. You can hide it. You could even leave it down in here. Because I believe you can use this to look at current RPM and maximum hit RPM, as well as change settings. So realistically, if you're not looking at max RPM and wanting to switch between those modes, once you set the settings, you can just hide this and you should be good. But that all depends on you. So yeah. Okay, and once you have everything wired up, you want to turn it on. And once you're on just the normal menu or normal screen, you want to take your button and hold it for 3 seconds. And this should get you into the actual settings like this. And you want to set this to C1, I believe. So once you click it, it should switch. And it goes up by 0.5, it seems. And there's a whole chart in the actual manual that comes with this. And C1 is for 1 RPM signal per 1 ignition, which I believe should be right for this since it's a single cylinder and only has 1 ignition coil. So once you have this selected, you want to just leave it for 30 seconds and it should go back to the regular screen for the actual RPMs. So yeah, I'll wait and see what happens for that. And it should just set after leaving it. So now it's back to the normal RPM screen. So now if you start the bike, it should show RPM signal. Okay, so it's the next day, and after testing the actual tachometer with it wrapped around the coil, for me, I was getting the wrong readings. That was the issue I was having before with the other run lead as well. So I tried something different this time. You may not have to do this, but I took that actual purple wire that's meant to go around the coil, or the spark plug wire, and I put it directly to the coil positive or negative, just the lower connector down here. I put it directly to that. So I stripped the wire and I soldered it to this like you would any other wire soldering to something else. And now I'm actually getting the proper reading. And then for the settings on the actual gauge here, I put it to the, like when you hold it for 3 seconds, I'll put it to 0.5 and then it reads fine. And for the actual button mounting, I decided to route it all the way under here. And I'm gonna put it right, you can kind of see it, it's right here. I'm gonna put it right there so that it's hidden, but it's also accessible. So if I need to change stuff, I could just push here. But yeah, it's a pretty simple install, and overall it's pretty clean the way I did it, at least with the hole drilled there. You can't even really see it, even from this angle. With the heat shrink that I added, it's pretty hard to see. So yeah, and like I said before, I added a little zip tie here so it doesn't try and push it through this way and pull up on the actual adhesive on the display. But overall, pretty easy, and it looks much better in my opinion than the other one that I had. But yeah. Okay, so I got the bike finally assembled after fixing the RPM reading issue. So the coil just down there, so I had to take out the box and that little panel piece. But I got that all together, only took a few seconds. And on the actual bike, as you can see, when you turn on the key, the gauge actually turns on and everything like that. So, and I set this too low, so it saw that it picked up 1000 RPM, so now it's flashing. But I'll change that. But I put my button up here, so I can click that. And there's the RPM reading. So we're at 1300 RPM roughly right now. It's a little cold. And I have 2500 RPM clutch springs in this bike right now. So that RPM does line up with when it should actually grab is the 25 to 3000 RPM range. But yeah, so simple install. Looks very nice, a lot better than the other one. The other one was already tiny, but that one compared to this even looks bulky. This one's much thinner. The screen doesn't have like a fat bezel around it with some buttons, and this doesn't use the coin cell battery, which was a real headache for me. Yeah, so it's hardwired, which honestly I prefer because it's not something I'm going to remove. I'm going to always keep the tachometer on no matter what, just because it's nice to look at and see what's going on with the bike. And it's really nice that it actually turns on with key and everything like that. And the button I can actually hide over here if I need to use it. But yeah, and I think it was only like 20 bucks Canadian, so it's well worth it. It's around the same price as the other one, but I prefer this one much better already. So yeah.